Hey all, it's Killcam, and today we're talking about a base building technique that's widely used in a lot of survival games called honeycombing. You don't hear this term all that much in H1Z1 circles, because the building system in H1Z1 does not lend itself to having control over individual building cells. You create 3x3 deck foundations or 4x4 ground tampers. You don't get to place interior walls as you might like, instead only on sockets along the edges of the platform you're building on. Alright, so what's honeycombing? Think about honeycombs in a beehive. You will be building foundations adjacent to each other and grouping them in such a way that their edges align, and then fill them up entirely with single cell shelters. You're going to be building layers of shelters around your base to add security and make it a big pain in the ass to raid. In the case of 99% of the bases you will raid in H1Z1, once you're past a few metal gates or metal walls, you're essentially in the base, and it's just a matter of knocking down doors to get inside the rooms containing loot. In a honeycomb base, you're essentially presenting raiders with the prospect of expending a ton of time and explosives before they ever even get to where your loot is. Let's look at this base I built to demonstrate the honeycomb concept. Note, this is not a real base, and I would advise never building a main base right next to a high point like this that people could jump into your base from, or at the very least, shoot down into your base at close range. I've left the honeycomb sections without roofs, so you the viewer can see exactly what I'm talking about. Notice the base has a central living area that has only one route to access it, an extremely narrow corridor that connects it to the base's garage/airlock. As you can see, there's a minimum of 3 shelters on every side and associated walls and gates that would need to be blown through in order to reach the loot areas in even this small 4-tamper arrangement. Keep in mind, if this were a real base and space permitting, I would likely have at least one more ring of honeycomb tampers wrapped around the storage area, upping the minimum number of shelters required to be destroyed to 7 in every direction. This is doable for even small clans. I built this 4-tamper arrangement in about a day and a half all alone. If you have a large clan with the ability to scavenge large numbers of metal sheets, a 3rd ring of tampers is even feasible within a span of a couple of days, where a minimum of 11 plus shelters, several double walls and gates before even setting foot inside the living spaces would be required. As you can imagine, all but the most well-resourced clans would even contemplate raiding such a monolithic structure. All this even assumes that they know that the base is honeycomb to begin with. If they were to deviate from a straight line into the center, the number of shelters to go through expands at a logarithmic rate. In the larger setups I described above, if they are truly unlucky, they could blow into the base and miss the living space, come out the other side if they were extremely persistent and stupid enough to continue. Anyway, I doubt any attackers would opt for that extremely wasteful strategy of going through the shelters. The other key to honeycombing is to take advantage of the fact that most raiders are going to take the path of least resistance. The likeliest scenario in attacking a honeycomb base is to attack it through the gates and doorways the defending clan uses to get in and out. Here's where you can get really nasty and medieval with your architecture. In this example, I didn't use a traditional gated pathway on the tampers to the living area. What I did was to split a pair of tampers just enough so that when the walls are installed, just barely enough room for one player to pass is left. In a real base, this narrow corridor would be lined with metal gates that could be left open, meaning attackers could face the daunting prospect of dealing with at least 8 gates just to go the length of one ground tamper. If you have the room to do it, you can make a double-length hallway and up that to 16 to 20 gates depending on how you design things. This arrangement makes this space extremely defendable even if you're outnumbered. Raiders are forced into a narrow corridor where they cannot dodge fire and must remain in single file. The players behind the frontmost attacker will be unable to shoot forward without hitting the players in front of them. If you have defenders on the roof to shoot down or drop grenades down into the corridor, while stationing a man at the end to shoot loot down the length, it's basically a kill box. A base like this, if defended by a clan that's online, is as defensible as you can get, short of using exploits, bugs, and glitches.
China number 1, fuck you! Fuck you, bitch! Fuck you! I'm China number 1, I will kill you, fucking motherfucker, you bitch! Fuck you! No Taiwan number 1, I will fucking kill you, bitch! Ow!
Now here's a look at what this looks like from above. Keep in mind that in a real base, there'd be an additional floor of shelters on top, making attackers have to look straight up to even return fire. The defender has the option of taking total cover and concealment, while attackers down in the corridor have almost no freedom of movement or cover. That's pretty much it when it comes to honeycombing your base. This is a base building technique that you can add to your repertoire and combine with other base building techniques and concepts I'll discuss more of in the future to make your bases better and your loot more secure inside. That's all for this Killcam update. Please comment, like, and subscribe below if you want to support the channel. I'm Killcam, letting you know that just like the movie Field of Dreams, in H1Z1, if you build it, they will come.